has left me some very nice slides on Git and GitHub, which is very important, as some of you may know. So who all has used GitHub before? Very cool, very cool. So this is going to be a very basic introduction on GitHub. And if you already know everything in here, that's totally fine. But if you're totally new to GitHub, then you're welcome to ask me any questions. And yeah, so we'll get right into it. So first, what is Git? And it is a distributed version control system. And I know that sounds really scary, but it just means that you can save your code to it and go back and get any particular version you want later on. So it's widely used. I use it every single day. And it's a way for you to work in teams, a way for you to get previous saves, and it's super, super useful. So you can think of it as being like when you're playing a video game and you save your game over and over, right? Maybe you want to go to some previous save you had because you had some item and you don't know what happened to it. You can do that. You can load previous saves of your code. But think about it like when I'm playing on the PlayStation, my save is on that PlayStation hard drive. So I need to specifically link it to use it across the internet. So what does that mean for your code? I can save it to a particular place on my hard drive by using the command git init. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to make a new project in IntelliJ so you can see kind of how this would work in a practical setting. Yeah, so right here I have my Hello World program. And let's say I wanted to make myself a new GitHub repository, and that's going to be our memory part where I'm going to be able to save my code. So I can just type in git init, and it's going to make me a new empty Git repository. So you can see right here, oh, that's kind of small. I have a new empty Git repository. Let me try to make that bigger. I don't think I can make it bigger. But if you can see it there at the bottom, I'll also share the slides after the fact, so you'll be able to do this on your own time if you want. But I've made a new empty Git repository, and now I'm able to start saving my code there. So in order to save my code to that repository, I have to know about how to add and how to commit to my repository. So you can think of adding stuff as deciding which files you're ready to save to your repository. It's technically called the staging area, but you don't have to think about it like that at the moment. You just can think about it as the stuff that you're getting ready to save to your repository. So if I want to save my file over here, I can type git add, and all of the weird red stuff up there turns green, and I'm ready to start committing my files. So the difference between add and commit is commit actually saves them. So if you just add them, it won't actually save them. You have to type in commit to be able to get back to that save later. So I'm going to type in git commit and then -m, so I can type in a message about my commit, because you're going to do this super often. Every time you add a new feature to your code, you're going to want to commit it. So I want to say what I did here. So I'm just going to say made a new program. And then go ahead and go, and now I have committed it. So the way that I can check that is just by putting in git log, and there I can see that I've actually saved something to my repository. And that's that about the git log. So one thing to remember about commits is every single commit is going to have its own specific commit code called a hash. And when you want to go back and load a specific save from your hard drive, you remember you saved like lots of different saves of your game. You want to get to a particular one, each of them have codes. And if I want to check one of those out, I can just type git checkout and then the code, and it will just bring that back like nothing ever happened. So that's great and all, but all of this is just on your hard drive. If you want to be able to get that across the internet, if you want your friends to be able to get it, you have to use GitHub. And it's really, really easy to take this repository that you already made over here and put that online. All you have to do is go to GitHub, which I'm going to do for you right now, and put in, if you make an account, you can go to your repositories and then press create a new repository. So now I'm on this page, it says create a new repository, and I can name it. Let's just say, alright, perfect. And then I'm gonna create. So now I have a repository ready on GitHub, and all I have to do is link the one that I already made with this repository online. And then all of my friends will be able to get to my code. If it's a group project, they can get the code on their own computer, and I can keep adding to it, and keep saving to it, and still access it whenever I want. The only thing I have to do is I have to put in these, just a couple of commands. This one is going to say, let's make this website the new home for my repository. So I'm going to go over here and just paste that in right there. And then the last one is I'm going to take all of the code that I had, and I'm going to push it to what's called origin main, which is just this repository online. And what it means to push it is to just take all that code that you committed, that you have ready to go, and put it on the internet. That's all it's doing. So I'm going to say go, and it just failed. Make sure your branch name matches. All right, so now it has gone, and I can go back to this website over here, and it should be ready to go. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you have code on your online repository that you can just look at whenever you'd like. So I can go to my commits right here, and we can see that commit that I made a few minutes ago. Remember when I wrote git commit and -m and then made a new program? That's that up here. So all that did was it saved all of the code that I made right here. So we can see that the code that I had in my IDE a second ago is now right here for me to access whenever I would like. Cool, right? Anybody have any questions about that? Oh, okay. So the big difference here is this is on the internet, this is like a cloud. And before, when I only had it from the terminal, it was just like my hard drive, like it's on my own computer only. So let's say you have a group project and somebody wants to make changes to that. If they want to get your code on their computer, all they have to do is connect to the repository and then say git pull, and then their computer will match yours. It'll just be the exact same program. And then if they make any changes, then they'll want to push them by using git push, and then you can pull them back on your computer by saying git pull. Does that make sense? It's pretty intuitive, right? Okay, and the one last thing that makes GitHub super, super useful is branches. So branches are kind of like, if you picture a tree, you have the regular sequence of your code, the regular sequence of development in one line. Let's say that I want to make changes to the code without really changing what Bee has on her computer. Maybe we're doing a group project together and we're making like Pac-Man, for example. And she has this beautiful board made up and she's making Pac-Man on her computer, but I want to make the ghosts. But if I make the ghost, then it might break what she's already doing. So I want to get a safe copy of the code and start making changes and still pushing and committing to GitHub, but without changing what Bee has on her computer. So what I'll do is I'll make a new branch for it. I'm not going to demo it right now because it'll take too long. But I would make a new branch for that code for just the ghosts. I would develop that, and then when I finish up, I have working ghosts. Maybe I've made 200 commits by now. I've written just like 300 lines of code, and I'm ready to put it on Bee's computer for us to test. In that case, I would then merge my branch with her main branch. We want to keep them separate because I wouldn't want to heavily affect what she's doing while I'm making something very large. And then one thing to remember about branches is I would be able to freely switch between them without really having any large impact on the program. So if I have the branch for my ghosts, obviously all the development I've done on the ghosts is going to be in that branch. And then if I say, well, I want to see what Bee's doing on her branch, I can just switch to her branch. I can just say git checkout and then the name of the branch, and then it'll switch to what she has on her computer. And then all the progress I have on ghosts will be only over there on my branch. It won't be affected. They won't be like interchangeable. But when we're ready to go, we can just merge them together and then finish development on the project. Okay, that's all I had about Git and GitHub. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want me to talk about again?
What happens if you merge the code and your conf is in
merge conflict. So in the case that both of us have developed something new on line 15, for example. So on line 15, you wrote a print statement and I wrote x + 5. The computer won't really know which one they want to go with. So GitHub will actually flag that for you and say, hey, both of you changed the same line. Which one did you want? And then you will have to resolve that on your own, whether it's in GitHub over here or on your IDE. But, yeah, excuse me. If you pull very often, then you won't have that problem most of the time. Good question. What's up?
Yeah, and then just one thing to mention, like if your first time using like push origin, you might probably need authentication. So yeah, it will first pop up like a username and your password, and when you enter to it, it gonna says like their policy has been changed. So make sure that you use the new way to do the authentication. Otherwise, you can't do like any push or any pull request. Yeah, this is very easy. Just search it on Google, and you'll find how to do the authentication. Yeah.
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 At first, GitHub can be kind of intimidating. At least it was for me. I tried for quite some time to try and learn it on my own. But once I had somebody like really explain it to me, it was pretty easy. So if it's your first time using Git, don't be scared. You'll get used to it.
Well, that'll be
All right. Okay. Are you ready? Any final thoughts about Git or GitHub complaints? Okay. So I'm gonna pass it off to V. She has made a beautiful playlist file program, and she's going to be telling us about it right now.
Today I'm going to show you guys a project that I worked on during the summer. It's called Playlist Pal. I'm going to walk through what my project is about, what are the features, the technologies that I used, and just some lessons I learned from working on this project, and what kind of improvements that I can make on the future. So Playlist Pal, it's a React application that allows users to search for a Spotify library, create a custom playlist, and save it to the Spotify account. So the website features includes Spotify login, so it requires you to have an account. You can search any song by song, album, or artist. It's going to take that from the Spotify library API. You can add and remove songs from your custom playlist. You can add any title that you want from your playlist and save it to your Spotify account. So let's do a demo of this. So this is the UI for the website. So I'm going to search for a song, let's say by name. So what's your favorite song, Nora?
Flutter by BTS.
Flutter? Okay. Okay. So it's gonna have this pop-up login where you need to log in. So every login is green, but if you haven't, it's gonna show you like this, and you can login as normal. So click on agree. Okay, this is Flutter. And you can see, yeah. So here are all of the songs that match with the keyword that you enter. So you can do here. What else? So let's do a search by artist instead of song.
80s.
80s?
I'm only going to copy K-pop, I'm sorry.
How do you spell that?
A, and then T, E, E, Z. Yeah, and then 2 E's. Yeah, and then a Z.
Is it right?
Yeah.
So these are all the songs by the artist. So we have this. You can also remove a song from your playlist. So let's do this. We add this one. Okay. And you can also search by album. So let's do like Sour. It's a really popular album by Olivia. You can add all of these. So these are all the songs that match the keyword. Okay, let's do let's add a few more. And let's create like a title for the playlist. What should I name this playlist? GDSC. Favorite songs. Okay, so this is my Spotify account. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 playlists. Now we're gonna click save. Save to Spotify. And go here and refresh. Oh, it's already here. So this is basically what the technology I use for this website, the first is Figma. If you're taking 135, I think you might have some experience with it. It's a platform where you can design the prototype for your app. Yeah. So this is the prototype I created on Figma. It's kind of like Photoshop, Illustrator, Photoshop, Adobe. Yeah, I'm not remember it. But you can basically create prototype, you can edit, you can add text or something for it to design your app. So they have something really cool recently launched, which is called Dev Mode. This one right here. You click on it, it's going to show you some of the code for the text that you want to design. So you see how it has like a gradient effect in the ultimate playlist. So I didn't know how to write that CSS code by hand. So they already have like a little bit of like starter code you can copy and paste it to your CSS file. I think that's really cool. So that's how I made it. My real product looks exactly like the prototype. And another technology I use is HTML for page structure and CSS for styling. JavaScript for adding interactivity. For example, this search bar right here, this button, this plus button to add songs or minus buttons to remove songs and save to Spotify. All these are done by JavaScript. If you only use HTML, CSS, your page is not that really interactive. It's just a static page. You can't really have any user interface. Any user interaction. Another one I use is React. It's a front-end framework for video interfaces. This is what I learned during the workshop website Wednesday last year during GDSC. So that workshop really opened my eye and really motivates me to work on my projects and same for you guys too. And obviously the Spotify Web API is also my first time working with it, so it's such a big API, so it's really overwhelming for me. But it helps me a lot to really start working with other bigger APIs like the Reddit API or YouTube. And obviously in GitHub and version control, we just talked about it in Nara's presentation. It's really extremely helpful when you work on a personal project and you want to version control your project. And finally, Netlify to deploy a website. So after you made your website on your computers, you need some place to push it to the internet so everyone can access it, because right now it's only in your local host. So Netlify is a company, there's many companies out there, but I use this one. So this is my, how it looks like. I already have like one project in this cloud, and it's gonna be in charge of all the, I connected this one to my GitHub repo, so whenever I push something, the website is going to automatically update. So you don't need to go and update every time you change something in your source code.
Do we need to pay for it?
No, it's free,
Oh, cool.
but the website's going to have like .netlify.app.
Oh,
so
okay,
if
I
you
got
want
you.
to
Yeah,
read
I understand, yeah.
Yeah, so the lessons I learned, first one is to actually read documentations. Before this project, I didn't really like reading documentations because it's really long and lengthy, but they're really detailed. They are there for a reason. They help programmers understand capabilities of the tool they're using and extremely helpful for debugging. 6 hours to debugging can save you 5 minutes of reading documentation. So this is the Spotify Web API that I use. I can show you. So I don't work with all of these. I only need this one. This is like the only thing that I use for my app. So for example, this one you see how it has like a title for the track, and then the artist name, the album name, and then the photo of the artist. So you can access all of these in here, and they have really details, a description of what you should use and how you can access all the data in their JSON file. And second lesson I learned is to utilize resources around me. I think I'll be really overwhelmed if I just start everything on my own from scratch, no help with anyone. So I watch a lot of like YouTube videos and also go on Stack Overflow, taking a look at all the public GitHub repositories that have like for people working on the same project to see how they laid out their code. There's also study forums where you can post any questions or any just for like coding servers. I think that it's good to work on projects together and just not being in your own for your personal project. Even though it's called personal, it helps you utilize resources around you. And last lesson I learned is to really use GitHub. The only time I used it before is for my Com 55 class, but after that I didn't use it. But now, when I start creating projects, besides helping with version control, it's also a way to showcase your skills because employers are going to look at your GitHub account. If you put it on your resume, you'll see how many contributions you made, if you pushed any projects, if you write really good documentations for each project, and it's also a way to collaborate with others. You can collaborate, contribute to open source projects on GitHub, and it's going to be really helpful for your resume. So this is an example of the repository that I made for this project. So this is a readme file of instructions on how to get started. So future enhancement, I wanted to do like maybe like a 5-second sound preview. So for example, users can like click on the profile picture and like hear it a few seconds before adding it, or maybe like importing existing Spotify playlists from the account, you can add to it instead of this one. Website is only able to add new playlists, and also like making the website a little bit more responsive on mobile app or different like screen sizes. I think that would be good. And yeah, that is all what I'm talking about. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, any questions about GitHub or projects or